Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Concession Stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and welcome to the review of HBO's House of the Dragon, Season 3, Episode 1, entitled Salt and Sea, Fire and Blood. This is the long-awaited return of House of the Dragon, the prequel series to Game of Thrones, the show that took the world by storm. House of the Dragon is kind of picking up the mantle of our Game of Thrones fix, especially after the way Game of Thrones ended their run. You know, House of the Dragon had promised more, just more. And when we come off the heels of season 2, which in comparisons to the first season wasn't as great, I think season 2 was more of a table setting for what we were hoping to get this season. And going by the first episode of season 3, we finally got it. This show promised the battle that just tore King's Landing apart and set the course, or set the stage for Game of Thrones. And we finally arrived. This first episode was bananas. This was a full-length feature film. It was about an hour and 20 minutes, almost hour and 30 minutes with credits and whatnot. But this was a long episode, and it quickly got me back in the mode of House of the Dragon. Of course, we're going to be talking about spoilers in this episode. So if you didn't see episode 1 yet and don't want to be spoiled, I implore you to hold up a sec, go watch the episode, and then come on back. That's the important part. Come on back and listen to the review of this episode. But just to give you a little backstory of season 2, where we left off and everything, the Team Green and Team Black, they were preparing for war. They were on the eve of this war, and Team Green was Aegon, Aemond, Allison, the High Towers, and Sir Christian Cole. Team Black, of course, was Rhaenyra, Jace, Damien, and some new dragon riders that they found. At the time of this battle, which is the beginning of the Battle of the Gullet, there were a total of 17 dragons with riders who are raging war. 17 dragons. Just to put it in perspective why that's important, if you watch Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is set after this show, I know it's crazy, Game of Thrones, and then this is the prequel to Game of Thrones, and Kingdom of the Seven Knights, or Knights of the Seven Kingdoms, I should say, that's set after this. So we are all over the place. But in that show, there are no dragons. There are 0 dragons that exist. So that lets you know right off the bat that there is going to be a lot of bloodshed, human and dragon alike, by the end of this war. And so we're on the eve of this war by the end of season 2, and in season 3, first episode, we are in the war. Now, if you remember in season 2, Allison snuck off, met up with Rhaenyra to try to come to some compromise to end as much bloodshed as possible, to end this without as much bloodshed as possible, you know, even offering her son's head in order to end it and rightfully give the throne to Rhaenyra. So when we pick up here in episode 1, Rhaenyra is all for it because neither of them want to demolish the other side, and they just want to put this to bed. If you remember in season 2, they really were ready to just end it then, but too much bloodshed has been spilled, you know, especially between their children, you know. And my God, by the end of this episode, even more children will go or going to see their untimely demise. I'll say this about episode one. Episode one was action packed. Episode one was everything that I was hoping to get in season two. To put it in perspective, there was more action in this one episode than I think the entirety of season two. There was more bloodshed and carnage in this one episode than there was in the entire season two. And I don't know if that was done by design, if they heard the critics and the fans complaints about last season or not. I don't think they operate in that way, but it made up for lost time in episode three. This was gruesome in a lot of ways, and I was here for it. Now, the one thing I will say, my little negatives that I have going into this or after watching this episode, Rhaenyra, I'm getting a little tired or weary of Rhaenyra kind of being put in the corner. You know what I'm saying? She's the main focus here. She's the main character. Everything centers around her and trying to get her rightful place at the throne, but she is relegated to this castle, and then by the end of this episode, she's locked in a room. You know, she's not a part of any outcome of any battle that takes place ever since this transfer of power took place. Everybody else is dying around her, and she is yet to leave the castle. I think she only left it once in season two. Other than that, you know, and I like that character. I like the actress who was portraying this character, doing a really good job. But it just seems like she has nothing to do other than try to get her husband under control. She don't even trust him, and can't trust her children because her son locked her in the room after she's trying to protect him. And unfortunately, he won't live long enough to regret it. He regrets it, but he won't live long enough to regret it. And everything around her is crumbling while she's stuck in this castle. And it's time to unleash the beast, man. Let's let her loose. You know, now, in hindsight, would she have survived that battle? Probably not. Probably not. Well, probably not, you know, because that was pretty brutal battle that took place over the sea, and I'm not 100% confident she would have survived it anyway. I get it for storyline reasons. I'm just tired of seeing her like that. Another thing that I'm kind of negative on, and it was just in this episode I noticed it. It was too much going on. There was a lot going on, and I know we have a lot of characters in a lot of different locations, and so we have to do a lot of bouncing around. And I know that their storylines are important, their decisions that they make are important, that affects the main storyline. I understand that, but we didn't have to fit it all in one episode. You know, we can address the D and E storylines in episode 2. Let's just do ABC in episode 1 and leave D, E, and F. Let's save that to episode 2, you know, because it was just so much going on. And we're in the middle of this turmoil, this battle that's on the horizon, you know, the pot about to run over, and we have to stop, and we're over here. We're seeing Aegon, he's being captured and all this other stuff, which, okay, all that stuff is interesting. All that stuff I know is leading to something bigger. I just didn't need it in one episode, you know. This episode, like I stated earlier, is an hour and a half long almost, you know. It didn't have to be that. It didn't have to be that. We can stretch these out. It doesn't have to be an 8-episode season. We can give us a 10-episode season easily if we just split up episodes. They don't have to be this long. They don't have to be that long. I'm complaining now, but if they did that, I probably would complain about that too. I don't know. It just felt I just felt it this episode because I'm pretty sure they do that every single episode. It just never affected me until tonight, and it's weird. Not to the point where I was like bored with the show. Like it wasn't like, man, this is a useless plot line or anything like that. Because as I said, every plot line is important to the main story. It just felt long, and it didn't have to be. It just didn't have to be. But part of that is probably because I was so amped up and ready for this battle. I wanted to see some dragons torching these ships. So I got it. I did get it. Because those were my only two negatives. Aside from that, everything else, we're back in the fold of the House of the Dragon. This was brutal, man. We got some epic battles. HBO, God bless them. They spend some good coin on this show. They do not hold back on the budget of this show. There is some epic landscapes, the cinematography is outstanding. The visual effects, we're dealing with dragons and, and ships and, flying in water, diving in water, and practical stunts where you see actors on top of these dragons and stuff like that. The visual effects were great. And so they do not skim on the budget here. And that's good. It doesn't look cheap. It doesn't look like they just threw it together. A lot of care went into this. It's even better than some movies I've watched recently, believe it or not. I mean, these are movies with $200 to $300 million budgets. So good on HBO for not holding back on this. Yeah, it looked awesome. When we got to the battles, even without the dragons, when we were on sea with these ships, and they're ramming other ships and shooting at other ships, and it looks like a pirate battle when they're boarding the ships and taking over the boats and ramming through the other boats, and we get our sword battles and the carnage with that. And my God, man, it was just brutal. It was brutal, and it needed to be brutal, because no matter what the era is, war is hell. It is, man. It displayed this brutal battles that makes you appreciate the fact that you live in this century, that you weren't born 300 to 400 years ago when you had to literally go hand-to-hand combat and face your enemy face to face. We didn't have drone warfare and bomb from afar. That luxury wasn't available back then. So this was displayed in a pretty awesome way. How did we get to Rhaenyra losing another child? Well, Rhaenyra was prepared to go into battle with her dragon, of course, when the ships were about to converge, and Jace decided to lock her in the room, told her guard to make sure that she doesn't leave the room, because your job is to protect her from enemies and herself. And so he wasn't allowed to let her out. He goes off, flies off into battle. What made it so brutal, we got a near death when they shot a harpoon. The one of the ships hit the dragon with a harpoon and tied an anchor to the other end of the rope and almost drowned the dragon. They got saved there. I'm like, okay. Okay. I was nervous because I was like, man, this woman cannot lose another child. Please don't do this to Rhaenyra. And so when he got out of that, I felt confident. I felt good. Even when the dragon died, it couldn't go any further because of the wounds, the harpoon, he basically bled out and whatnot and died, drowned in the sea. And he's floating in the sea. And I'm like, okay, he can still get out of this. They're going to rescue him, probably going to capture him, hold him hostage, or whatever the case may be. Nope. Nope. All of a sudden, you see an arrow hit him in the back. Whop. All right. I'm like, oh, man. Oh, this is going to suck. He turns around, and another arrow hits him in the neck and the chest. And that was the end of Jace. And so that was just, oh, my God. My mouth dropped. My mouth dropped. I was floored by the fact that yet another child of Rhaenyra's is gone. And so I would imagine that this is going to have some big ramifications going forward, not just for the Greens, not just for the other side, but for her guards that wouldn't let her out. Oh my God, her name escapes me. The one who was supposed to be watching him, his wife or his other, not allow him to do this, and she allowed it. So I'm pretty sure she's going to get a little spanking. And so there's a lot there that when Rhaenyra gets out that room and hear the news, and if you saw the preview for this upcoming season after this episode, you know that they do bring his body back, and she does not look happy, of course. So it's going to be hell to pay for a lot of people. But I think the leash is off. I think they're finally going to take the cuffs off of her this season, and I'm hoping and praying. I'm hoping and praying that she does engage a little more in these battles, in this war, and we see a turning of the tide. Overall, I'm excited for this season. I will say this. The only pushback I have going forward is, did we get all the action in this episode? Is that it for the action? Now, don't get me wrong. There's more to this show than the action. You don't really go into a House of the Dragon or Game of Thrones or whatever just for action. You go for the story. You go for the intrigue. You go for the drama. You go for the thrills. You know, it's more to this show than just action and dragons flying around. Who wants to see that for an hour every week? You know, you do want it, but you really want really good writing and storytelling. So that's not the only reason you want to watch this show. But we're at war. We're fully engaged in war. And you cannot tease us with the insanity that we got in this first episode and not deliver for the rest of the season in that matter. I need more of this craziness that we got in this first episode. It doesn't have to be every episode. Not every episode has to have a shocking death, a dragon setting the ship on fire, you know, stuff of that nature. We don't need that every episode. Just sprinkle it in. And then maybe the penultimate episode or the season finale, then we go bananas again, you know. But it remains to be seen. That's just me being skeptical, you know. Did they shoot their load in the first episode and that's it? I hope not, pray it's not. But I will say I enjoyed it so far. Here's fingers crossed that we will stay on this level throughout season 3. I would like to know, did you enjoy the first episode of season 3 of House of the Dragon? Are you excited for the rest of this season? What do you think Rhaenyra would do? What do you think Allison is going to do? Because she has a lot going on as well. I didn't really touch in on that as much, but you know, she has conflicts of her own between her and Aemond. That's a crazy situation going on there. She knows the boy is crazy, but at the end of the day, that's her son. You know, she's trying to convince him one thing and he's ready to do another, and he's so deprived of motherly love that when she tries to express that to coerce him to do something she want him to do, he took that as sexual love, not motherly love, because he doesn't know what motherly love is, and that's Allison's fault. All of this is Allison's fault. You know, that's what I thought about throughout this whole episode. All this could have been ended if Allison had enough sense of a goose, but it is what it is. But I would like to know your thoughts. Visit the kbradionetwork.com, the website. You can contact the show through there. You can look me up on social media. Just look for the KB Radio Network. Follow me on all social media platforms. Don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff there. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this premiere episode of House of the Dragon Season 3, this review. Can't wait for the rest of this season. I want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.